May God be in my head, in my heart, and in my understanding. Amen. It was St. Luke's Sunday, but I was not at St. Luke's. I was at what was then the St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Our patron saint there, of course, was St. Andrew. That's who we were named for. So we would not be celebrating Luke in the liturgy on St. Luke's Day. However, as I was getting my things together in the parish hall there to lead an adult discussion group, which always happened before worship, St. Luke, the beloved physician, was on my mind and in my heart. We buried several of our older parishioners in the months preceding that day, sometimes even 2 in 1 month. We'd also buried one of our younger members, and now another member, friend to just about everybody in the parish, where she was sick unto death. And everyone in the discussion group knew it. Everyone in the group knew that for this friend's body, there would be no cure. But the group wanted me to pray for her healing. And I think some of the folks who were present were really hoping that against all odds, our prayer might bring about a miraculous cure. So I prayed. I prayed for a miracle cure. But I also prayed that if her body was so broken that a cure could not come, that she would instead find healing. Healing certainly for mind and spirit, but also that she would find healing for her body. Healing to be released, for her body to be released from pain and suffering. Because in God's divine compassion and wisdom, there is always some kind of healing available. Some kind of healing that involves spirit, mind, and yes, body, even when it's not a cure. Even when there's no physical cure to what ails a person, God even brings healing to the body. The ultimate, of course, is that through the pain of death, the healing comes in resurrection. But even when that's not the case, healing may come in many different ways for many different people. This is not true only for individuals in need of healing. It is also true for our collective body and mind and spirit as a world torn asunder by our divisions. These divisions have caused considerable damage. Sometimes damage that cannot be cured. The father, mistakenly killed by a U.S. drone attack in Afghanistan, that father cannot be brought back to life again for his children and family. The young black men and women shot to death in our own community in various acts of violence, they cannot be brought back to life again, restored to their homes and their parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and friends. The 90,000 COVID deaths this summer, deaths which could have been prevented by vaccines if this pandemic had not been so politicized. These mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, kinfolk and friends cannot be brought back to life physically to the people they left. And at this point in the life of the world, we have absolutely no idea yet what can or cannot be cured in the damage we've done to the planet Earth. The damage we've done by divisions that continue to hold us captive to more and more destruction of the very home in which we live and move and have our being. Much of the damage of our divisions, much of the damage that our divisions have inflicted on the body and mind and spirit of the world cannot be cured. Much of it simply won't be cured. It's already been done. But the divisions themselves can be healed. And that will do something. And these divisions can be healed if we become willing to try to participate in healing the divisions. Because healing is always possible. But healing only occurs when we participate in the behaviors necessary to healing. This is true whether we're talking about the body, the mind, and the spirit of an individual human being. It's also true when we're talking about the body, mind, and spirit of the world at large. Several months ago, presiding Bishop Michael Curry, who often speaks about the racial divisions that divide our country, Bishop Curry was asked this question during an interview. He was in the state of North Carolina. The question was this: what will it take to heal the divisions? And as he often does, Bishop Curry answered with a story. He said, and I quote, "This was in the 2015 campaign at a Trump rally here in North Carolina, in Fayetteville. There were protesters present. That was sort of normal, if you remember, in that last campaign. And one of them, this one particular guy who happened to be an older white guy, punched a younger black guy who was one of the protesters. He was arrested and charged with assault. He apologized in court for what he did, and he accepted responsibility for it." And then Bishop Curry continues by saying, this is a quote I can remember, he said. He, the old white guy, said, "We're in a political mess, you and me, and we've got to do something to heal our country." And then Bishop Curry went on to say that in a subsequent story about those two, the black man who confessed his responsibility, the white man who confessed his responsibility, and the black man who had been punched. In a subsequent story, we hear that the black guy said to the white guy, "Let's go out and eat lunch." Bishop Curry went on to point out that going out and eating lunch together has become a metaphor for him. A metaphor of the hard work that people from different sides of our divisions must learn to do. Must learn to do. Not just that it would be a nice, sweet, happy thing to do, but people from the opposite side of our divisions must learn to do these things. Must learn to talk to each other and listen to each other and learn about each other, if the body and the mind and the spirit of our world is to be healed. That's what Bishop Curry was pointing out. And I believe Bishop Curry is right. For our divisions to be healed, those who are divided have to want to be reconciled with each other. They can't be healed when people don't want to be healed. And they just want the problem to go away and want it to be all answered in a certain way. Unless they want some kind of reconciliation, it will never happen. Because until the desire for reconciliation is present, there really isn't much healing that can be done. So it seems to me that one way we need to pray for healing is to pray for the kindling of such a desire. Maybe just beginning with ourselves. We always want it to be the other person that makes the change. But maybe where we begin is just with the only person we have any control over at all. Maybe we begin with ourselves. And maybe we just begin to pray. Just pray that within our hearts and minds, God will kindle a desire to reconcile with our enemies in some productive way. Not just to give in and forget what needs to be done, but to reconcile in some real and productive way. To pray that we'll have that desire, even before we figure out how to act on it, that we'll just have the desire to. We hear Jesus say just that. In the Gospel of Luke, Not today's that we read, but in another part of that gospel, chapter 6, verses 27 to 28, Jesus says, "But to you who are willing to listen, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who hurt you." But the truth is, I don't know about you, but for me, the truth is that these words of Jesus are just not that easy to really live by, and not that easy to put into action. About as far as many of us are willing to go in praying for our enemies is what we sometimes call an Irish blessing. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that this is really from Ireland and the Irish or not. So if it's not, this is with apologies to the Irish for it being counted. If it is, I think it's a pretty good set of words put together that express how we most often might be likely to pray for our enemies. It goes like this: "May those who love us, and those who don't love us, may God turn their hearts. And if He doesn't turn their hearts, may He turn their ankles so we'll know them by their limping." We know that one, right? I mean, whether we know those words, we know that kind of prayer for our enemies. But if we really want to do more for the healing of the divisions that plague us, we need to do better in opening our hearts and minds to real reconciliation. If we really want to do more for the healing of the body and mind and spirit of the world, we need to pray differently for our enemies. To do so, I invite you to consider the words of another prayer. This one was written in the 12th century by a man named St. Anselm, who I think he was Archbishop of Canterbury, but I think he was Archbishop of Canterbury at the time he wrote these words. I'm not sure about that part. Anselm teaches us this healing prayer. "Almighty and tender Lord Jesus Christ, just as I have asked you to love my friends, so I ask the same for my enemies. You alone, Lord, are mighty. You alone, Lord, are merciful. Whatever you make me desire for my enemies, give it to them, and give the same back to me. If I ever ask for them anything which is outside your perfect rule of love, whether through weakness or ignorance or malice, good Lord, if I do that, do not give it to them, and do not give it back to me. You who are the true light, lighten their darkness. You who are the whole truth, correct their errors. You who are the incarnate Word, give life to their souls. Tender Lord Jesus, let me not be a stumbling block to them, nor a rock of offense. My sin is sufficient for me, without harming others. I, a slave to sin, beg your mercy on my fellow slaves to sin. Let them be reconciled with you, and through you, may they be reconciled to me.